Hey everybody, I wanted to show you how to do this pretty interesting radial design in Illustrator, and then we'll cover a few other topics. For this section of the class, we're really just looking at a few basics of how a vector stroke is created and what fills are, some shape blends, and the power of a vector to be reproduced. And so anyway, let's check this out. This is called a guilloche. This is used oftentimes with money because there's so much detail that it's really hard to reproduce. One of the benefits of this is incredible detail. And the fact that in Illustrator this can scale up or down because it's a vector pretty much forever. So it doesn't take much more computing power to make it billboard size versus something much smaller. Okay, anyhow, let's hit delete. I'm going to grab the pen tool here and clicking once and then clicking and dragging into a curve and leading in the direction I want to go, clicking another time. Ooh, and again. Notice I have this kind of random zigzag. And when I click and drag and bend it, then I get these Bezier curves, which are really nice. If I want to adjust the curves, that's pretty simple to do. I want to take the direct selection tool, which is right here under the regular selection tool, and I can click on an individual point, and then I can come in and start editing these. I can drag them out further if I want, change the direction of the curve, and so on. Alrighty, let me select the whole thing here, and notice that, let's see, my stroke now, I'm in a smaller screen for the movie here. So stroke is turned off. Notice right here there's a red slash through that. So if I turn it back on, and I'm going to put about a 1 point stroke on it, and here it is stroked like that. And I'm going to hit the rotate tool next. So this is the rotate tool, or the letter R is the shortcut. And as I come over here, I want to set a anchor point. I'll just choose this one here. And then as I approach an outer edge, I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and notice there's a double arrow when I press the Alt key. And what I'm going to do is duplicate the shape and rotate it around that anchor point. Just a little bit like that. Okay. And now, when I hit Control D, it'll copy that point. Notice there's one thing here. This is kind of empty in here. That's because I have a fill going, and the fill should be turned off. So it's filling white in the center here. So let me hit Escape. Sorry, I'm just going to select the whole thing and hit Delete. Start again. This time I want to turn off my fill. There we go. No fill and a stroke at 1 point. Take my pen tool, click and drag a few times to make a little random shape here. Select the whole thing using the regular selection tool. Hit the rotate tool, select an anchor point, and then holding down Alt, click and move this just slightly. Perfect. Now every time you hit Control D, you're copying that same movement. If I just hold down D, then I get the full figure. Now if I go around a few times, it'll fill in even more. Okay, that's good enough. So there's one object. It's interesting if you group the object, Control G, then we can move it and scale it. I'll hold Shift and Alt here and scale it uniformly. We can change the stroke color to something else. So here we can choose any other color. Take this magenta. And when I click away, then I've got that color. So that's all pretty cool. So I want you to try a couple of those. Let's try another. Instead of a pen tool, click and drag, delete. How about a shape tool? So right here are the shapes, and I have a polygon tool, a star tool. Just looking at a polygon, if I click and drag this, it's defaulting to a hexagon, and I can change the number of sides on this very easily, but I'm going to leave it 6 right now. And again, I select the whole thing, I hit the rotate tool, I'm going to rotate it around an anchor point, setting that, and I'm going to hold down the Alt key and click and move it ever so slightly like that, and then hold down Control and D, and notice I'm stroking it in magenta this time, and I'll just bring it around to that. And if I want that to be black, easy enough, I'm going to hit the select tool and click and drag around the whole thing, and then change my stroke color again. I can hit black even with this eyedropper here, and click away, and there you have it. Alrighty, good. Okay, let me go on to something else at this point. So let's get rid of that. Click and drag around it and hit delete. So just to show you about fills and strokes again, I'm just taking the polygon tool, clicking and dragging, selecting it, and I can stretch it any way I want. I can scale it in and out, okay? And right now we have the stroke set to 1 point, so on the fly you can change that to something, a larger value, and there's 20 points, and again it redraws in real time, unlike something in Photoshop, which once it's rendered, that's it. You have to delete the layer. And for the fill, I'm gonna click on one of these colors. Oops, notice I have the stroke there. Here's the fill. I have grays, I have swatches in here. I have all these other tones in here. I could use earth tones under swatches. This is the button I use to look at these. Color books, celebration, nature, flowers. Okay, so you can see some of these colors in here. If you were rendering some flowers, they're suggesting this might be a color palette you might want to look at. So notice how, again, the fill changes on the fly. The stroke can change on the fly as well. So I'm just highlighting the stroke here, and then I can choose a different, color. Let me click away. Let me get rid of this. It's a tiny bit tricky, but you get used to strokes and fills pretty fast here. Okay, there's a target of black. And again, over here in the path, we can go and select that. I wonder what this plus will do. Color group, cancel that. Anyway, okay for that, strokes and fills, and good. Let's get rid of this. Hit delete. The last thing was a shape blend, and this is another cool thing to do for morphing shapes quickly. If I go back to the shape tool, I'm going to take the ellipse here and just click and drag an ellipse. I'm going to set my stroke down to 1 point, more than that. Let's say 3 points. That's good. And remember, if I hit Alt and click and drag, I should be able to, with the select tool active, holding down Alt, just copy this. And notice the green line that is there that aligns this perfectly. You don't have to do that, but that's that. And while this is selected, I could change the fill on this to something else. I'm working with a tinier screen, so I'm missing things that I'm normally used to seeing here. Ancient art history swaths. Alright, good enough. Close that, close that. Okay, so shape blend. Right here under the eyedropper is your shape blend tool. So you click on the first one you're going to do. I'm going to click on the outer edge, not the center, and watch this cool effect. It blends one to the other, and we can control how many units are blended in between those under Object and Blend Options, and spacing in specified steps. That last one was smooth color. Here it's 100 steps. So if I put that down to like 50 steps and say OK, notice on the fly again it re-rendered that with 50 steps. Pretty cool. Also, I could take my direct selection. Right now everything is selected, I guess, so I just selected the top, and I'm going to stretch this. And on the fly, once again, I can change the way this looks, and it re-renders it in real time. Again, only in Illustrator because of the vector possibilities. Alright, 11 minutes, 56 seconds here so far, so I'm going to cut this one down. I mean, cut it off and stop the video here. Play around, try a bunch of different shapes. You can draw like a shape here, and shape here, and blend between shapes as well. In other words, let's say I did a shape over here and hit the blend tool again and connected one of the points up here to a point down here. I should be able to blend between the two. Whoopsie. And scratch that. I have to. I don't want to start a whole new video. I'm going to hit delete on that. Anyway, play around and see what you come up with. Great. Bye.